Well, next up, we have Delta posting record earnings, and shares are getting a boost on those better than expected results today. So here are the numbers. The airliner reported adjusted earnings of $2.35 a share on adjusted revenue of $12.49 billion. We have Adam Shapiro joining us now with the latest from Atlanta. And Adam, you sat down with CEO Ed Bastian this morning. It seems like overall, when you take a look at these numbers, it was a very strong quarter for the company.
It was a strong quarter for the company, and the company's looking forward to delivery of 28 more. They've already got the first two of the Airbus A330-900 Neo. Now, this is a dual-aisle aircraft, long haul, 14,000, 15,000 miles, rather hours, and it can in the air, and it can 14 hours in the air, excuse me. But it's going to be on their Seattle to Shanghai route. Now, this is important because it's Airbus, not Boeing. And Delta actually studied buying the Boeing 737 MAX a few years back. They spent a year looking into it and chose Airbus. We asked the CEO why.
Absolutely, it's a competition. We fly, one of the largest, airline fleets in the world, and so you need both manufacturers at all times.
Where are you going to look most, do you think? Boeing? The problems with the 737 MAX, I know you didn't buy it, you studied it for a year. Why didn't you go there?
Well, we preferred the Airbus product. So we made a decision a couple of years ago to go the Airbus 321 route and the 321 Neos route of the MAX. That was the head-up competition. And we obviously, feel good about that decision. Felt good then, continue to feel good today.
So you heard him say that they preferred the Airbus, at least in the case when they were looking at 737 MAX, which they don't have any of. It's one of the reasons that their load factors are so high and why their revenue generation is so high right now, because other airlines have had to shift their routes. Going forward, Delta has to replace its Boeing 757 and 767 aircraft. They're looking at the next generation of the Boeing 797 for that, but they're also looking at Airbus, and the decision has not yet been decided. Shauna?
Hey, Adam, how did he say, there's been lots of talk just in terms of how these airlines stack up against each other, who has the leg up now. Obviously, Delta's CEO will say that he thinks that his company does, but when you take a look at the landscape overall, how do you see that playing out?
You cut out on the last part of what you said. When you take a look at the landscape is the last thing I heard.
Yeah, when you take a look at the landscape just in terms of how Delta has performed amongst many of its rivals, when you compare it to United, when you compare it to Southwest, compare it to American Airlines, what is the next, my question is, what is the industry's next step moving forward? What is the biggest focus here for the airliners as we head into the second half of the year?
For Delta, it's to maintain the records. Listen, they had record revenue. They had 5 days in the last 30, which were record revenue days. The question is, can they sustain it? When we talked about the Pacific routes, which is 10% of their business, they doubled their revenue just in China. But the majority of their money is right here in the United States, domestically, and they compete against, for instance, low-cost carriers like Southwest. So when you ask about what does the future hold, it actually, for the legacy carriers, and especially Delta, they got to figure out a way to optimize more of those business class seats and premium ticket seats, for instance, first class, because they generate a lot more revenue from that.
All right, well, it was a great interview with CEO Ed Bastian. It's all up on yahoofinance.com. Adam Shapiro, thanks so much.